Hey, welcome on in. It's another Monday afternoon lunch show here on Lunch with Claibs and Joe here on claibsonline.com. We are powered by Ameren, Illinois, driven by Munganess St. Louis Acura, and sponsored by Ryan Kelly, the home loan expert. Find him online at thehomeloanexpert.com. I'm Joe Roderick, joined alongside by Mike Claiborne. And as you can see in the background, Claibs, we're not in your garage. We are here at the showroom at Munganess St. Louis Acura, though the conversation that I just overheard you having before we went on the air here, one of these cars that's on the lot might be going home with you today, it sounds like.
Well, not today because I don't have any place to put it. They have this NSX. It's a sports car. It's very nice. You won't see a lot of them on the street, but when you see one, you know it's a really special car. And I was just looking at it, and I know someone who's driven one, and they just speak volumes of it. So, but there are plenty of other cars I like to go home with here as well. And one of the neat things, and this is one of the great things about this dealership, Joe, there are vehicles available. I just saw a truckload that they just pull in. So for a lot of places that you're hearing about that don't have cars, you can come to this location. You can certainly go over to Alton as well, and you'll be able to find probably something that you weren't expecting as far as good selection is concerned. So come by here. We're here on Manchester, and you can go online as well. I mean, that's how they roll here. I mean, from a technology standpoint, they make car buying as easy as it can ever be. So whether you want to do it on your laptop or you want to come out and see one and kick the tires, so to say, this is a place to do it.
Yeah, over 300 new and used cars on the lot here, and more on the way at Munganess St. Louis Acura, along with a great selection of MDXs arriving daily here as well. So we will be here for the next 45 minutes, hour or so, getting you recaps on everything that happened this past weekend or this past week as well.
Yeah.
As so much to get to, and we start off as we usually do with the Cardinals, who took 2 out of 3 this past weekend from the Giants, 4 out of 6 now on the season from the best team in baseball record wise.
And you know what was interesting? You know, first of all, the Giants have not won a series against the Cardinals since they beat the Cardinals in postseason, and you know how long ago that was. The way they did it, felt like they played well. But I thought yesterday's game, we hear Mike Schilt talk about how much these guys fight and how much they battle and how much they really respect the game. We saw it yesterday. The hustle, the heads-up plays, the situational play, moving around. Was terrific. Ryan Helsley wasn't very good on Saturday. Schilt comes right back with him yesterday, and he gives him an outstanding inning. So it's the little things like that. Now, I say all that to say one thing. Until you get to 500, we don't even need to have a conversation of how good this team can be. So that's the starting point, and they're not there yet. So they've got to figure out a way to get to 500, and at that point, we'll see where this thing goes. Milwaukee's good, but they lost one of their best pitchers the other day. Brandon Williams, a young man from St. Louis, he went on the injured list with an inflamed elbow, and we all know what that can mean. So, and you don't want to see that happen to a guy, but what happens if they come back to the pack a little bit? Because they're a worse hitting team than the Cardinals.
And they keep losing guys, too,
exactly.
On that side. On the offensive side, the pitching's been the strong point for the Brewers this year. So losing an arm like that out of the bullpen it's going to have that trickle-down effect. Mm-hmm. And you saw it when Jordan Hicks went out, and you immediately need to find somebody that's going to fill that role. And all season, it seems like they keep giving Ryan Helsley that chance over and over again. And it's been a little Jekyll and Hyde with him on some of his outings.
And you know, he's still trying to figure out how to pitch. He can throw, but I think we need him to be more of a pitcher. He's got to trust his breaking ball a little bit more. We all know he can throw 98, but you're going to have another pitch to set yourself up. And in this situation, he is still learning. I think there's a lot of guys on the staff that are still learning how to pitch. And he's moving up the ladder. Let's just put it that way. They're putting him in better situations compared to the mop-up role that he would have been involved in on a Friday night when that game got out of hand.
Yeah, so another guy, Andrew Miller's been pitching well since he's come back. So hopefully, all of those pieces in place. You don't need bullpen help come trade deadline. That's not where.
Arm in the bullpen. Although
I feel like they have enough arms, and when you look at where the number one need is rotation.
Yes,
that is where they need to go out and find somebody in the rotation. They need to. I said last week that they should have showed up to the Cole Hamels tryout with a contract in hand, ready to go. Just give it to him.
How did that turn out? Have you heard how his workout went?
I haven't heard of any offers that have been made to him yet. Who's his agent? Is he a Boris guy?
I don't think so.
I'm not sure who his agent is, but I mean, 14 teams showed up to watch him. You imagine that he's in talks with a couple, because there's a lot of teams out there that need pitching. And no matter what he did in that tryout, I think there were teams that were probably willing to offer him a contract sight unseen.
So let me ask you, does it behoove him to wait until the last minute before the deadline just to create enough interest and keep raising the price? Because there's only one team that's going to get him if he's good enough, which means other teams have to scramble and to find somebody who's a veteran, whether they sign somebody off the street or whether they make a trade for somebody.
A lot of this, I feel like, it's going to come down to math, because whatever deal he gets is going to be prorated. And every day that he doesn't sign, he's missing out on more money, and he's potentially missing another start. I mean, every 5 days that go past without him signing, he misses another start, and he becomes less valuable to those teams. But that I mean, regardless of Cole Hamels, anybody that's out there, anybody that they can go out and get and trade for to go into that rotation, because right now your 4 and 5 guys are Jake Woodford and Johan Oviedo, two guys that should be pitching in Memphis. It should be starting in Memphis, and that's the best that you have right now.
And here's the other thing that I'm a little concerned about. Well, Flaherty will be back, and Michaelis is not that far away. We don't know what they have to offer. I mean, you got to remember that neither one of them is going to be stretched out. So we're talking about a pair of guys who, if they give you 5 innings, then good for you. We don't know how effective they're going to be. And even if they come back, that's maybe one more win a week between the two of them, okay? I think you have to have a little bit more. I think you need another veteran somewhere, like you mentioned. I think we've been very fortunate the way LeBlanc has worked out. He hasn't gotten a decision yet, but he's pitched well enough to keep him in ball games. So I agree. They need another. They could use 2 arms or 1.5. And I know he's playing better. I still need another left-handed bat, especially late in the ball game. I need a pro. They can give me something off the bench. And Newt Barr is a good player, but he's not good enough to be that pinch hitter late in the ball game. And I think you have some flexibility in the game as a pinch hitter. Throw him in the outfield, maybe. But if you don't want to do that, you always have the option of Carpenter going to second and putting Edman out there if you want to do that. Or maybe that guy's not an outfielder. I don't know who that player is right now. But they need another left-handed bat.
I don't think you need to look at a specific position
when
it comes to that, just because I think a guy like Tommy Edman gives you that flexibility to, say, okay, maybe it's a backup shortstop that you go out and get, and that guy you assume can also play a little second base. So then you can put Edman in the outfield.
But he's got to be left-handed.
And that's the thing. I think you could just look at a bat from that side of the plate rather than focusing on what position he plays, because quite frankly, I mean, they're loaded with outfielders in the organization that they can keep going to. So, and if you're going to tell me that it's going to be Carlson, Bader, O'Neill every single day out there, and those 3 can stay healthy, which I know is a big if for 2 of the 3, but if they could stay healthy, then they should be just fine with going with whatever position when you look at a guy like Edman that can go out there too.
I agree with you. So we have some time to see how this thing unfolds, but they definitely need some help.
So is there a name out there that they could trade for starter-wise?
Well, I know the Gibson guy in Texas is one that everybody covers right now. Asking price might be a little too steep. But then again, you don't know if you don't ask. Cardinals are kind of like at a crossroads, or really there's a little bit of a separation between prospects and major league ready guys or near major league ready guys. And you look at in Springfield, you probably have more guys that have potential than you do in Memphis. So I just think they have to. Here's what I would do. I give them a list of 5 people. So you can take 2 of these 5 off this list. And if they ask about such and such, well, no, he's not on the list. So what else you got? And I think you have to be willing to part with 2 prospects somewhere along the way.
And guys like Libator, Gorman, Oviedo,
contract to somebody else.
That's I keep wondering as you look for improvements. And I know Matt Carpenter was one of the heroes in yesterday's win with his double. But I keep looking at his numbers and still hitting under 200 and
he's
still
getting close. He's getting close. I think he's over.
Is he over by now?
I think he might be like.
I didn't think
he'd be close to 200
unless he did more this weekend than what I saw him do. Then
or is it DeYoung that's over?
DeYoung just got over 200. Yeah,
Carpenter's got to be close.
Carpenter right now he's at 199. So.
And playing better.
It just the fact that he's been under 200 this whole season and still on the roster.
Yeah.
I keep waiting for as you go on. This is the last year of his contract, so at some point just kind of cut bait with it.
I thought that might be the case, but he does have value in the sense where he's good in that clubhouse. He's a pro. This is the only organization he's been part of. And there's a loyalty factor there. He's a harmless guy with respect to not being detrimental to the chemistry of the team.
You haven't heard him complain once about his role.
He could have.
He definitely could have.
When I got Arenado, he could have said, I want out of here because there's no way I'm playing third base. He's been a consummate professional. And I had a conversation with him on the road about being a consummate pro. I mean, he's always there talking to players and working with people. Like yesterday, I got to the ballpark at like 9:15. He's out taking ground balls because he's playing second that day. And he's working on different angles to take balls from. And anytime he's going in the lineup or just needs extra work, he's there every day getting work in. So his desire and his attitude has not changed. And I think that's another reason why he's still here.
And, like I said, he got the double yesterday. I don't think he's going to keep working his way into a starting lineup day after day because there's just no room for him.
I think what you'll see, though, you may see more matchups of guys he's hit well. Like, I thought he was going to play Saturday night because of the guy that they faced. I think he was hitting him pretty well career-wise. Comes back yesterday, different pitcher, obviously, with John Brebbia. But I thought that, obviously that was the key at bat. So we'll see what happens over the next week or so.
Cardinals have a 4-game series starting against the Cubs tonight, so they have a chance to knock the Cubs out of it. The Cubs want to trade. They want to be sellers. They have said that. The 11-12 game losing streak helped them get there. You saw them already trade Jock Peterson away, so you don't have to worry about him hitting the leadoff homer at all this series. He's down in Atlanta, so you will hopefully maybe this is the last time you get to see Chris Bryant in a Cubs uniform here at Busch.
And you don't know how long that's going to be. It's a 4-game series. They've got some decisions to make. They don't have a minor league that's ready to contribute. But they got to start over again. And you know what? When you look back, of all the teams that you thought were going to have a dynasty type run, I think everybody thought the Cubs were going to be that team. They had pitching, they had good offense, and man, they went the other way like that. And they never recovered. And
change managers and you lose the front office steps away.
Theo knew, saw it coming, and that's why he got out. But the other thing, we talk about Bryant. Man, I got to think about moving Javi Baez.
Everybody's an option.
I'm looking at his numbers today. This guy struck out 121 times. He is on course to strike out over 200 times. He has walked 14, I believe. Yeah, 14 times. Think about that. 107. That's inexcusable. Now he hits for a little power. He's a flashy glove. But man, I might be able to get something for him. I just
it's like me playing the show. I don't take walks, Claibs. I'm up there hacking.
I understand. All right, that's cool. I'm good with that. But I look at them and they're kind of a mess right now.
They are. Yeah. They absolutely are. And I think
Patrick Wisdom playing third.
And one of those, and I think you have to look at this from a Cardinal fan standpoint. And Cardinal fans want to get so upset about the team under 500 right now at the trade deadline. And Mo has come out and said they won't be sellers. They don't have the guys to sell either.
No, they don't.
And they don't have anybody that anybody else would covet.
Some teams might have a kick a tire on it would be KK.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if KK would. I think KK would say, you know what, I've had enough of this. I'm going home. You get opt out.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody else that's legit you're going to have a dire interest in. So he's right. We don't have an attractive team as far as people that you like to bring in to help you win.
And so look at that as what the Cubs are dealing with right now. The Cardinals have still been relevant in the standings each and every year for the past 2 decades. And to see the Cubs win that World Series and have what you thought was this core that just went away so fast.
Yeah.
It's one of those things to appreciate more as a Cardinal fan, knowing that also you mentioned the minor leagues. You could sit here right now and look at some of the Cardinal minor leaguers that are coming up and that are going to make a splash, you hope, in the next few years.
You can't say that about Chicago.
No. Because
the last phenom they thought they had was Alex Amora Jr. Now, this Nico Horner's an interesting player. I think he can play a little bit. But nobody in the outfield intrigues you. Contreras, I don't think he's that great of a catcher. I mean, he's obviously a big league catcher, but you look around and they have so many holes. They got to make a decision on Rizzo. I got to think they'll bring him back.
I think that's kind of the face of the franchise. I think that's one guy that they'll keep through it all and not let him walk away. Hey, we are out here at Munganass St. Louis Acura here on Manchester Road. They are the number 3 dealer in the nation, number 3, with over 300 new and used cars on the lot here in St. Louis. Check them out online at stlouisacura.com. Claims the Olympics start this weekend, and if they can make it through the 2 weeks, that'll be a huge victory for the IOC, as it seems like every day now we're getting more and more positive tests over there in Tokyo as the athletes are there and getting ready for all of the ceremonies.
I guess here's my question, and I'm not up on Japanese politics. Are they not taking a shot over there for them to have this surge? Are they not taking a shot?
I do not think, and this is, again, not to trying to get political or talk like I know exactly what I'm talking about, but I don't think it is widely available in other countries as it is here.
Hold on.
Right?
And you mean to tell me they can't get their hands on something?
I am not sure. I have not researched that enough. But it's also athletes coming from all these other countries that are going over there and testing positive. Like most recently, you had the alternate for the women's gymnastics team that just tested positive today for it.
And you hear different reasons on why athletes elect not to do it. I think at some point you got to draw a line. Hey, this is what it is. If you want to do it, fine. If you don't want to do it, then that's fine too. But we can ensure your opportunity because we're trying to protect the masses.
Yeah.
And, you have some guys that have decided they didn't want to do it. But I think that the Olympics is in big trouble. And I'm not rooting against them. I just feel like once this thing starts to get rolling, it's going to be hard to stop. So
I want to see the best athletes in the world going out there and competing. And I think by the time we get to some of these events, we're not going to have that. I think you're going to see a big name athlete back out of their event. I think that you're going to see, basketball wise, you already don't get the best Americans in there. And who knows how they're going to fare in this. There was whoever they just named to their team this past weekend with the guys dropping out. Like I'm aware of JaVale McGee. At no point in JaVale McGee's career should he be associated with the USA men's basketball team.
Country,
And then whoever they took from the Spurs,
Claibs,
I never heard that name before in my life.
I knew a little bit about him, but he too does not warrant the title of Olympian.
Like you go and look at that 92, the picture of that 92 team, and every single name on there, and every single name on there, I think anybody at any age could look at that and name each and every player on there. Maybe they'd have to think a little bit when they got to Christian Laettner and wonder, what contest he won to get in there that year, and knew he wasn't getting on the court with those guys. But I mean, you could look at that and you go, wow, each one of these guys is a Hall of Famer. And I think you look at this year and you go, huh. They get that one guy off an And One mixtape because I have never heard of him before.
Big Three the other day. I just think that again, this thing is it's got a bad smell to it. But I will say this, and I'm gonna disagree with you on the fact that if a guy gets there, he ain't pulling out. If you get there and you're competing for the gold, he's not gonna pull out. It's just. If he tests positive, obviously.
Right.
But I don't think he's going to sit in his room and say, man, I shouldn't be here. I got a chance to win a gold medal tomorrow, and I'm going home. That doesn't happen. But I think that once they get inside the village, maybe there'll be a little bit more control on how they handle the situation. But it's unfortunate. I just think the worst is yet to come.
You mentioned about the guys, and you said they wouldn't pull out once they got in there. That did remind me. I saw something the other day. They have cardboard beds in the Olympic Village to avoid Olympians maybe sharing a bed together at a certain point during those few weeks. Or afternoon, morning, whenever whenever their schedules allow. Well, but
in the old days, you just push them together. I don't know if they still do that or not. Listen, I always find that I've talked to a number of Olympic athletes and say if you want to, you can. There's a will, there's a way.
I don't think a cardboard bed is going to stop them.
No. Who was the guy he was taking selfies of himself jumping up like it was.
I didn't see that. I saw it was like a marathon runner or something was the one that posted the picture of it, and he's just like, we weigh like 100 pounds. Like you could fit three of us in this bed.
Exactly. So it's going to have some gimmicks to it, I think, and that's the unfortunate thing about it. I think the gimmicks, the virus itself, have become greater distractions than the games, because one of the things, if you notice, and we'll get into it more as we get closer to the Olympics, there aren't a lot of household names out there. Okay, we know about Simone Biles, but other than the basketball for women and men, how many well-known athletes are going to have stood out so far? And I think that's an indication that it doesn't have the luster that it once did. Obviously, COVID has had something to do with that. But I also think that the way the IOC runs things has kind of discouraged some people, because the world championships in track and field compared to fool around with this mess over here in Japan. So we'll see. It's going to be interesting.
Yeah, it's still. I mean, I'm still going to watch it. I'm still going to follow it when it's on. It's just, it feels different, a lot different this year, and it's not because it was pushed back a year. There's just a lot of other stuff to it.
You're not playing in front of a crowd. That's another thing.
That'll be a big thing. It does seem like majority of the announcers will be there for the big events that you'll watch. Maybe not the events that you're going to watch on CNBC or USA or wherever, but I think when...
Now, how many other channels are they? Is it CBC or CNBC.
I mean, they're going to be running
NBC
stuff.
Sports Network.
They're going to be running stuff.
Which would be history.
Is the NBC Sports Network still a thing?
Yeah, but it's gone at the end of the year.
Okay, so you'll have that. You'll have USA. You'll have CNBC. You'll have NBC. I would imagine Peacock will have a lot of streaming, but they got enough problems going on right now. As there was a wrestling pay-per-view last night, and that was probably the biggest audience that Peacock's had, and it was very scattered. It was like trying to watch pay-per-views back when we were kids on the cable box. That's what it was like for a good 15 minutes of the show last night. So they got some issues they need to work out over there at the Peacock app.
I was you're too young to remember where before pay-per-view they had closed circuit TV. So you go to the theater, a mass building, and you could watch it on screen. Man, I'm trying to remember what fight it was. It might have been Ray Leonard fighting somebody. And they lost the feed for a few minutes, and you talk about bedlam. Yeah. I think it was like back then it was maybe like $35 to get in, which is a lot of money then. And they couldn't get it done. And I thought they were going to tear the place apart. But now you have it where you don't get the signal. That's a bigger set of issues. And, that's something they definitely got to work out.
Yeah, it's just when you're trending on Twitter for a reason like that, it's not a good thing. That means that there were a lot of complaints for a thing that they spent $1 billion to get the rights to air those. So that's a lot of money too to screw something up that big.
That is.
Yeah. So when is opening night this Friday for the Olympics, or is that?
Yes.
I was going to say, I thought it was. So the interview with Jackie Joyner-Kersee along with Claibs and Dr. Rick is available right now over on claibsonline.com. That was so I didn't talk to you. I had you called me on my way over there. You tell me you're about to send JJK the link so she can join us on Zoom. And then I walk into Dr. Rick's house and there she is just hanging out in the living room. So that was a nice little surprise on Wednesday, and I know you guys had a lot of fun doing that interview and talking about her past competitions and injuries and the way she recovered from those.
Well, I don't want to tell Jackie's age, but she still could compete in a lot of other sports.
I looked it up and I was shocked.
Yeah.
I did not.
She carries it well.
Yeah. It's very Googleable, but it's. I was very surprised.
Listen, I don't need her going upside my head, so you can say anything you want.
I'm not. I'm just saying, if people want to go look it up, they can. The internet's free.
It's not even that serious. Don't worry about it. She's really good at what she does.
Yeah, and I was. How fast? Give her 100 meters. How fast do you think she can run that?
12. Maybe.
Hell of a lot faster than you and I could run it.
No, I wouldn't even do it. Couldn't start the car that fast. So, she'd probably be 11.5, 12, somewhere in that vicinity. Hey,
Ryan Kelly, one of the sponsors here of Lunch with Claibs and Joe, is he's starting he was telling us about the mountain climbing all throughout the country and doing that. They're starting one down in Texas this week. So
wait a minute, they have mountains in Texas?
They're not the big mountains. It's not, Ben and I went up to Pikes Peak the other day. We were up 13,000. So I'm just saying that's a mountain. I'm just saying they got
I don't know if they have mountains in Texas.
I'm sure they got something.
You ever been to Texas?
Yeah.
Okay. Let me know if you find a mountain.
A big hill?
No, I'm talking about something with legitimate elevation.
Well, I could tell you because I saw him posting about it the other day. I could tell you.
Well, we got to get him on soon and find out what this is all about.
Yeah, I can tell you that Ryan Kelly, as I'm looking here, the side, whatever. I'm trying to find it on his Instagram page because I know that's where he posted it recently. Maybe it's in Colorado. I don't know. I saw it posted somewhere, but they're starting that. I thought it was in Texas. Maybe I was wrong. You get him on. You get him on next week or coming up soon, and we'll find out all the details of that. We do need to get into the Blues. though, in the expansion draft.
Yes.
I'm excited to see it because you saw a few years ago when the Golden Knights had their expansion team, they made the finals.
And I think there are better players out there this year than they were for Vegas.
The way that they have set up this expansion draft has allowed for some very good players to be available and has allowed teams to use it as hopefully a way to dump salary and get rid of some bad contracts and maybe not be able to protect everybody that they have on their roster, to where it's going to leave some good players out there. And Vladimir Tarasenko gave the Blues a very interesting decision to make, leaving him available now in this. And depending on what reports you read, it seems like the Kraken might go and pick up Vladimir Tarasenko.
Well, there's a couple of reasons why they might do it. One, they could flip him.
I think that's what they're going to do.
And get more prospects because they're not expected to win now. Whoever else picks him up is supposed to feel like they're a step better or closer to winning. It's something we certainly have to pay attention to. You know, the whole Tarasenko thing, you know, it came out that he was unhappy with the Blues and how they handled the surgery. He was also unhappy because they didn't make him captain. I don't know why he felt he should be.
Is that what started all this, you think?
Yeah, I do. I know there was a Russian report that came out talking about it. But when it came out, everybody was still in the quarantine and, you know, under lock and key. So you didn't have the access to him that you would have liked to. The other thing is he is upset with how they treated his shoulder. I got a problem with a couple things here. First of all, I think you're unprofessional when you go after another professional, like in the medical side. That should have been in-house. If you weren't happy with it, then why don't you go back to him a second time? The second thing is, if you have a shoulder or something that could create more problems, that's when your agent steps in and says, hey, we're going to get a second opinion. You may like the Blues guy or whoever team you're rooting for. You may like their guy, you may not. But the bottom line is, remember this, their job is to get you back on the playing surface as soon as possible. A second opinion is going to tell you, hey, look, this is what's going to happen 3 months, 6 months, a year from now, as far as your injury is concerned. So once he threw Matt Matava under the bus and the rest of the staff, you know, they would reach a point of no return. So I don't have anything against him, but you know what? It's time to move on because I think this is too much water under that bridge right now. Now, what do you get in return? Well, you need a goal scorer. You definitely need that, and there aren't a lot of them standing out there. And they had one last year, Mike Hoffman, and he wasn't protected. So it's I think for the NHL, you look at the other sports, whether it's baseball or basketball or football, hockey has now stepped into that final three as far as sports teams that have intriguing following. You know, NFL draft is catch me out. NBA draft is very, very popular. I think what you may see another station do is a dual cast where they'd be in a better situation. So it's going to be interesting.
Last week in Denver, you could tell that Major League Baseball is really, really trying to make the Major League Baseball draft into something, and it's just not. It's never going to work. It's never under the current structure of Major League Baseball. You can do that. You can have all the bells and whistles. You can have the podium and the stage and everything, and bring these players
out.
Know
any of these guys.
But just for example, you guys got to talk with the latest draft pick for the Cardinals this past week. He was down on the field.
I don't talk to him.
You didn't even talk. You see, that's the thing, though. The media that did go up and talk to him, you talk to him, you ask him a few questions, you ask him what he likes to go by, what he does for fun, this and that, and you go, okay, we'll see you in 4 years.
Yeah, and that's kind of my motto about it, where if you've been, it's not like the NFL or even the NHL. Those guys get to the league quicker. I'm worried about those guys, the ones who are on fast track or the ones who are already here. I let somebody else in Springfield or Keokuk, Iowa, tell me what they're doing.
If you want to talk to Claibs on the field at Bush, you got to make the show first.
Absolutely,
That's how it works. That's the rule. So when you see him standing over there off to the side, and you wonder why doesn't that guy have a microphone in front of me?
Because he has no
you gotta make it to the show first if you want to get on the pregame show with. All right, babe. Wrapping up here today. The Bucks have a chance to win their first NBA championship, up 3-2. Do they get it done?
When do they play tonight?
Do they play? I think they play tomorrow. Yeah.
I think
they have so many off days in the NBA Finals.
Game 7. You know, it used to be Sunday,
right?
Tuesday,
they didn't
Thursday.
play last night.
Yeah, and I don't know why. It wasn't like they were going up against anything.
I don't know why
it's not like they didn't have buildings available.
Right.
You know, I mean, they're lucky to get this thing over with before the Olympics starts.
They played Wednesday, Saturday, Tuesday.
Yeah.
That you're going to lose interest if you're having to look around and wonder when it is. I mean, there was no reason there. I think it was ridiculous to have a game Saturday night. Friday night, I think you get a better audience Friday night than you do on a Saturday night. And you definitely get a better audience on a Sunday night than you do on a Saturday night.
Sunday night.
If you do Friday, Saturday or Friday, Sunday, you're set.
But I think ESPN and ABC were gloating about, hey, we not only have the finals, we've got the Open. And they had another event going on last week. So, you know, I agree with you. They could have given me Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, and I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's get it over. The seasons run too long as it is because of the pandemic.
And on top of that, you're also looking at starting. This season, you're already into the middle of July, mid to late July with this. October. And, yeah, you're starting up again that, you know, you've had enough injuries already this postseason with some of your big stars. Yeah. Is that something you want to risk going into the start of next season too? So it's, you know, hopefully they get the scheduling back and figured out at some point. Did you watch much of the Open Championship this weekend?
I did. I watched.
Colin Morikawa with another victory.
He's good, man. We don't know a lot about him.
No, but he's won two. He's won two majors.
He shows up in majors. He wins. Now, with that said, we've seen a lot of guys get off the hot starts of their career. One of the guys who lost yesterday, Jordan Spieth, was supposed to be that guy who's going to be the next phenom and a guy who's going to win multiple majors. Hasn't worked for him in the last few years. But, you know, by the way, did you see where a guy shot a 63 in 1 minute and 51 seconds?
An
hour? And 50, no. Yeah, hour.
Yeah.
Hour and 50
I did. Yeah. That's just, hey, that's getting up there and that's hitting it. That's not thinking about it.
Jay Randolph golf.
Is it?
Jay Jr. plays quick. I like to play quick. But I always think the reason why you can play quick is if you can find your ball.
Yeah.
You know, and that eats up a lot of time on the golf course.
But it helps too when you're playing in a tournament and you get a lot of people helping you look for that ball too.
No doubt about it.
Yeah. So are you a fan? Have you been a fan of the new schedule and everything this year, the PGA, the way they've been running it?
I guess I think the key is, you know, you got to play in good weather.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you can't start too early as far as majors are concerned, unless you're going to be in a legitimate warm weather environment. But yeah, you know, I think all sports are going to start changing their schedules around for one reason or another. And we'll see how that works out 5 years from now.
I know you got 4 games this week with Cardinals Cubs, and you'll be on the call for those two on Camel X. Yes. And then you head out. Where's this weekend take you?
Out of the country. I'm not going on the road.
Oh, you're not? Okay.
Yeah, I'm taking some time out.
All right. So we will we'll check in with you when you get back. Anything planned before then?
Baseball.
All right.
You know, we may visit with Edward Fitzhugh. He's the new voice of the Seattle Kraken that I've gotten to know reasonably well. And I'm really anxious to hear what he's got to say about how they're putting things together. Not only their building, which I understand is going to be very nice, what they sell in the building, showing a lot of diversity. I mean, he's the first African-American play-by-play guy on radio. And J.T. Brown has already been hired to do color for TV. J.T. Brown played in Tampa, a couple other stops. His dad, Ted Brown, played in the NFL for the Minnesota Vikings. So hopefully I'm going to try and get to him this week. Well, I won't be. It's either now or never. Just realized that.
We will check in with
anybody
we'll,
next week.
We'll check in with you soon. Rammer and I, this starting today, Daily Cards will be live each and every day. Yeah, we're going to go live with that and see if we can make that work with both of our schedules and go live with that every day, and then put the podcast up on the website following that, just to give you more and more, because I think we've realized we want to start getting more stuff on the YouTube page. Go to Claibs Online, go to YouTube and search Claibs Online. We put a lot of stuff up there last week when we were in Denver for the All-Star game.
By the way, you guys did a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
Out there. A lot of good stuff, a lot of good information. You got your fix on meeting people that didn't play.
What do you mean?
Wait a minute, you interviewed somebody who wasn't a player. I'm trying to
The Miz.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And
WWE superstar, The Miz.
Oh, Miz.
Hey, that's gotten the most downloads of anything on the that we did last week. So as he sits here and talks about it, I got him more clicks on that than anything else that I did last week in Denver. So let him talk.
It's a loyal following. I've not signed up for it yet. I'm just coming from a different era.
That's fine.
But I do.
When you go to the sponsors and they're looking at the clicks and they go, "Wow, what was this?" And you say, "You know what? That was Joe talking to a WWE superstar right there, and it got a lot of clicks." Okay. That's what it is.
I live with it. I'm not complaining.
You play the hits. That's what gets you. Yep.
Absolutely.
That's how you do it. All right. This has been Lunch with Claibs and Joe. We are out at Munganess St. Louis Acura. Thankful of them for having us out here. Come check out. They have the RDXs, the ILXs, and they have new MDXs, 2022 MDXs arriving in here in the showroom and on the lot daily here at Munganess St. Louis Acura. Find them online at stlouisacura.com. When you go to the website, stlouisacura.com, you can see all of the what they have in inventory. They'll show you the numbers right there as well. So for Mike Claiborne, I'm Joe Roderick. This has been Lunch with Claibs and Joe right here on claibsonline.com.